Hi, I'm Paul. Welcome to MIG Monday. In this episode, what I'd like to do is talk a little bit about welding technique. People sometimes pick up little habits or ways they like to do things. So what I'm going to do is demonstrate a couple of these different ways. And for the most part, it's just a matter of preference or what you find the easiest to do to make a nice looking weld. The three that I'm going to kind of demonstrate today is just with the correct angle and everything into the joint. I'm just going to do basically just a straight line weld. And then I'm going to do some people like to do a little circle as they're moving forward, or even maybe just a back and forth thing if not a complete circle, but some kind of little movement there as they're going down the plate. And then one of the ones that I like is just a little bit back and forth thing that sometimes people call it stacked dimes or fish scales. I like it because I can get a nice rhythm going, and it's easy to kind of maintain that rhythm or that beat throughout the weld. So it just helps me make a better weld usually. So I want to show you those three things. And what we'll do is we'll look at it when I'm done and see the visual differences. And like I already mentioned, the visual differences or the quality of the weld probably isn't going to be affected much by what technique you use. But just to go further than what the visual differences are, we're also going to cut and etch them so that we can see if there's penetration differences between the two, so we can get an idea of what you might want to do depending on what kind of work or project you're working on, okay? So let's get the safety gear on and I'll make some welds. Okay, the first one I'm going to do is just a little straight line technique, and then we'll take a look at that and we'll continue with the other techniques, all right? Here we go. All right, so that was a straight line. Now what I'm going to do is that little circular motion or back and forth, zigzag, whatever you might want to call it. All right, now, next one I'm going to do is the fish scale or stack of dimes, just kind of a little shuffle back and forth like this. Instead of the one I just did was kind of this way, this next one is just going to be kind of stepping along like that, okay? Here we go. So visually, you can see the stack of dimes things here. I like that just because it's just a kind of like a little pattern, something to look at. The other one is was the little kind of zigzag back and forth, and the first one was the straight line. So is one better than the other? I don't know. I think basically it's a matter of preference. But we will get these cut and etched, and we can make a more definitive statement about whether one's better than the other based on penetration. All right? So we'll get those cut, and we'll let you know what happens. All right. I have the samples back that I sent to the lab to get cut, and we're going to kind of look at the results. The first one that was cut and etched here, you can see the penetration profile. We got a pretty good bond here. That was using a technique that was the one I did using a technique of just kind of straight line, pushing it along the joint, okay? So that one turned out pretty good. Now, if you recall, the second one that I did was kind of like a little circular motion or a back and forth motion, a zigzag, if you will. And once again, we also have adequate penetration for this weld. So that shows that we can do either or. And then the last one that I did was kind of my personal favorite, was just a kind of a back and forth shuffle. And this is the results of that. And this one also has good penetration. So the lesson to be learned here is that sometimes technique is just a matter of preference and not a necessary or a matter of having a need to do it a certain way. Whatever people feel most comfortable with generally works well for them. They're comfortable, they weld better when you're comfortable instead of trying to do something you're uncomfortable with. And as we can see, it's possible to get good penetration with any of those 3 techniques. So you pick the one that works for you and have at it. So hopefully that clears that up for you. And I'm going to say so long and thanks for watching. And don't forget, if you have additional questions about this or any other welding topic, don't be afraid to go on the forum and ask the question, and we'll get back to you on it. All right? Well, thanks a lot. Well, if you learned something today or liked what you saw, please feel free to subscribe and keep an eye out for new episodes every MIG Monday.